Hi everybody, I'm your host Najee Talley, and today on Black Society's Healing Hotspot, we'll be talking about Black Society organization itself with Mr. Gilbert Wilkerson, the founder of Black Society itself. So, tell us, Mr. Wilkerson, how did Black Society come to be?
Well, I was working on both sides of the political realm, trying to get blacks to work together, but I was doing it politically, and it didn't go well. So what I did, I was like, okay, there's problems within the black neighborhood, within the black community. So what can I do to bring blacks together, to work together for simple things that, let's say if the neighborhoods need cleaning up, then we should clean it up ourselves. It needs cleaning up, so why wait for government come to pick up our trash in our neighborhoods? Something like that simple. So there are many other things that we as blacks can do. We have a community where we have all these resources and all this talent. And I tell people, blacks bring $1.6 trillion into the American economy, but you don't see us prospering from that money that's brought in. So we have to have a retrospective of what we're doing with our lives, what we're doing with our money. We bring $1.6 trillion into our economy, then we should be more prosperous people. But we are the ones that live in the projects. We are the ones that are not investing into the stock market. We are the ones that don't have insurance. We live in rental property, and we don't have adequate housing. Sometimes that's beyond our control, but not all of it. So if we could get together and help each other and create a kind of like a black society. They did a study recently of money staying within certain communities. They did the black community, the white community, the Asian community, and the Jewish community. They found out that Asian community, the money stayed maybe about a month, I think, because it circled amongst themselves, and then it went out. They purchased within their own stores, they shopped within their own community, so that money went from me to her, and we all prospered by that money coming in. And then when the Jewish community, it was like about maybe 3 weeks, so many days. And in the white community, it was so many days. But the black community, it stayed about 3 or 4 days, where we didn't spend our money at shopping at your store. If you own a hair salon, we may went there and shop, but other money we spent elsewhere. The money didn't stay within our neighborhood. And then we spend money on Nike, $58.6 billion spent on hair and nails, which that's not all women. Men go to hair salons too and get cut their hair. But the hair products that are out there in the shops, in the products, are not owned by blacks. They're owned by Asians. They give no money back into the black neighborhood. So we're constantly giving out, but never taking in. We're taking in, but we're giving back out. And so our kids are failing. We're paying for the Jews, and nothing's wrong with it. I mean, they're making their own lifestyle. You can't blame people for looking out for their own. But we're paying for other communities to send their kids to college while our kids can't afford college. Retrospective of what we are supposed to do with ourselves and the pride and the dignity. You believe that, and I hate to be talking so much, but we all do. But if you look at how we live in the 60s, if you go back and look at some pictures in the 60s, how blacks looked, I have some pictures in my book, but they look nice. They dressed nice. They carried themselves nice. They had families. They had communities. But something happened in the 60s where we just exploded into violent communities, And what we have to do is we have to get back into taking care of families, taking care of each other, watching where we spend our money, being a community again, being families again. So Black Society was kind of started on that way and that intention of somehow bringing blacks together in unity because we have the resources, we have the money, we can see. And we have the talent in our community. We have professionals in every area you can name. Financially, spiritually, socially, entertainers, you name it, black people have excelled in every category. So the question is, why aren't we using our own talent to create our own society, in a sense, our own business? And some people say, well, you want to be excluded, that's your best separatist, and that's racism. No, it's looking out for a minority. We are 13.9% minority. And I just saw an article yesterday that said that in the black community there are $300 billion of purchasing power that the companies can tap into. $300 billion that the companies haven't tapped into the black community yet. They're coming in to get our money to do what? So they can make everybody else rich. And we are the ones that's suffering. And somehow down the lines we have to somehow get a hold on to, for instance, black on black crime. A lot of blacks are in prison today, suffering. Sometimes for menial crimes, but it doesn't matter. They're in prison. They come out and get a prison record. They can't get a decent job. You got a felony, and it's hard, and it's more pressure on them to create families, to survive, to have a healthy life. Because you make a mistake when you're young and you get a felony, it's going to follow you to death, and that's sad. So we have to help each other, And so I know it's one question I answered maybe 1,000 times, but it was just so much that was created by black society to combat some of these things that's going on in the black community and do good, So that's where we are. So
I was about to say, what has black society done so far? Like, what activities have y'all done? Mm-hmm. And, what conversations, what have y'all done all together? Well,
when we first started in 2019 and COVID broke out. So as it was going 6 months into development, we created Black Society. An anonymous donor gave us $20,000 just off the bat. Because they saw the vision, they saw the promise that what we were doing. We used that for our rental and property. So we rented a building downtown that the Family Foundation allowed us to rent. It was a whole office suite. And then people liked our vision, so they gave us all kinds of office furniture and everything. So, but the problem was we never could go to work because everything was shut down. So the first year, we were just trying to create infrastructure on creating, getting our taxes right, lining up our books and everything, make sure they were in place. And so when the year was up, it was like, okay, we haven't made any money. We haven't been able to do anything. So what I did is like, okay, I'm not gonna. I didn't see. Me personally, I'm like, I'm not gonna end up paying like a lot of money for an office space, even though I want to look for something. And so what I did, I said, okay, let's shut everything down, give some of the furniture, give all the furniture away, office furniture away, and let's, just start from scratch. So we gave the furniture away, and nice furniture, matter of fact. Gave the furniture away, and I bought some stuff home, put my books up, and so I got sick with COVID, matter of fact.
Oh, you had COVID?
Oh God, yeah, I had COVID. It was just one of those things. I'm laying in my bed one day, and a realtor has been trying to call me. I says, and I work with realtor. I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy no properties too high. I'm not going to put my money in it because I wasn't able to do fundraising. So I went and got a call one day from a guy. Says, I got a property I want you to look at. I'm like, and he called me about 3 or 4 times, but I didn't return his call. So finally I turned this call. He says, I have some property I want you to look at. And I said, well, I'll take a look. He said, would you meet me? He said, I found your brochure at the Family Foundation. And he said, I want you to rent this property because someone else is trying to rent it, but I want you to have it and I'm going to give it to you at a reduced rate. I said, well, okay. So I figured it would still be paid. So I went and looked at it, and it was this office here. And he told me the price. I'm like, whoa, this is really nice. This is nice. Got plenty of park and everything. Make a long story short, he ended up renting it to me because of that. And I'm just like, okay, there's promise for Black Society because people can see the vision. There's money out there to be made to do what we're doing. So we did one time. We did come on back to which point we have done. We plan to do clean up the black graves. You know, we did a postal project with that, and that was stopped down for some reason. That didn't go through because I think it may be inclement weather or something like that. We did June 10th before. We did something called Dad to Daughters, where we have daughters come together with dads. We've done podcasts. We've done audio podcasts, video podcasts. We've done projects at family unions where we went and talked to people at family unions. And so we're trying to get back out there right now and create things that's relevant and important to the community rather than just doing stuff. We want to be able to go to, got a project now, we're trying to work with the schools where we're trying to take kids in high school and middle school into the courthouse and show them what the judicial system looks like from within. Because kids will end up eventually going to court, so we want to teach them about the judicial system. I was in there for 34 years, and we want to teach them about certain things that they don't learn. And so we want to branch out into the community and touch young kids' lives, and also touch single moms. We want to provide services where single moms and kids that are trying to get into college, all those things, we have projects lined up to work on.
So overall, you would say that Black society is, of course, trying to educate people, empower people, and strengthen specifically the Black community.
Oh yeah, no question. Because we also did seminars on retirement, home buying, and financial management. We've done those. Our first, we combined those three together. And when our first home buying seminar, we had two families buy houses that they didn't think they could buy. Because we brought realtors in. So what we try to do, we try to line up the people who have the resources, like the realtors, and they will come in and talk about home buying and let people know, oh yeah, you can buy a home. You know that, don't you? They said, really? And so they end up buying two people at that seminar bought houses. Wasn't that many people? And then one other thing too that Blacks don't do is that we don't prepare for retirement. And so we brought a guy in, one of our friends in from T-Bow Rice, who had retired from T-Bow Rice, and he talked about retirement. And because I didn't start talking about retirement until I was 50 years old, and I'm looking at retirement like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. And so if you don't prepare for retirement, you especially be young like yourself, you got to know what's expected at you at 55, because at 65, as you get older, people don't want to hire you no more because they're going to get the young resources, paying them less and kicking you out the door. So training people to prepare for retirement, financial management, to manage our money, like we talked about, $1.6 trillion. A lot of Black households do not manage their money well. I had to learn the hard way because they didn't teach it in high school. My mom and dad didn't teach it. They were struggling. So I had to learn the hard way how to manage my money. And in a sense, I'm still learning how to manage it, how to invest it, how to get into annuities, how to get into stocks, bonds, all those things that we as Blacks aren't privy to. I talk to a lot of white people who talk about stocks and bonds. I'm like, wait a minute here. I didn't know that. And you got some people that are white or that in the stock market, all they do is do the stock market. They wake up in the morning and see what their stocks are doing. Sometimes they're worried on edge because they got a lot of money in there. But they live off the stock market. They make money off the stock market. Buying homes. I was a realtor for a while. Buying homes. One of the greatest investment you could ever invest in is buying a home, because it's equity. You have equity in a home, and you have a place that nobody can ever take from you. But a realtor told me when I first got into the real estate business, says, you should never rent, because what you're doing is you're paying somebody else's mortgage. I'm like, by the time this is my second home. My first home I built from scratch up. I paid somebody to build it. I didn't do it with my hands.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't build it with my hands. But I built that, and then the second one was already built, and then somebody had lived there for 2 years, so almost practically new. But for the day I moved in, I had $20,000 worth of equity in the house the day I moved in, because I bought the house at a lower price from the builder, and the people in it was renting. And so when I bought it from the owner who built the house, I walked in with $20,000 equity, which I could have borrowed off the $20,000 to do anything. So now my house is a whole lot worth more that I have equity in that I can leave to my kids. You see, I can leave to my children's children so they can have a greater start in life than I do, because I grew up poor, son of a sharecropper. And so I know what it likes to live in poverty. I know what it likes to. Poverty is a stronghold that holds you down mentally and psychologically so long that it's like a big demon, and you got to struggle to get out from under that rascal. And it takes knowledge. Because sometimes you can have money and still be poor. You know what I'm saying? We have this poor mentality. Me struggling to get out from under that and finding out, and one of the greatest things that happened to me as a black person is my identity as a black man, my identity as a black man. And I remember used to go in the mirror sometimes and say, I am Gilbert Wilkerson. You believe I had to say something like that about myself? I had to say, I am Gilbert Wilkerson. I had to make these confirmations in the mirror because I grew up in such an era where I had the low self-image of myself. And so I had to go to myself and tell myself it was okay to be myself. You know what I'm saying? And so all these things I've learned, and I want to pass them down to younger people who struggle to make it in this life. And I can tell you how many struggles I had. I've said to myself at times, "Ooh, if I had somebody to help me to get over this hurdle, to get over this branch, or get over this situation." My wife and I got married. I had to work on my own car. I had to go out there and fix it because I didn't have no money to call somebody and repair. Today's car repairs is it's astronomical to fix a little bit on the car. So I can fix a car, but I've had to do it because of necessity. So it's the fact that if we help each other as society, as a people, it's so much better that we have this trust and this bond between us. If we're friends and we trust each other, I'm going to look out for you and you're going to look out for me. That builds confidence in me, builds confidence in you. So we look out for each other, and I make your life easy and you make my life easy because, for instance, if you get into something with the law, because of my background in law enforcement and in the judicial, I know some things that can help you out. So I'm willing to help you out as much as possible because we have this bond and friendship. And you have an education in psychology. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick her brain as much as I can, because we become. There's old saying the threefold cord cannot be broken. So you can break one person, but it's harder to break two people, and it's even worse to break three people. So when you got us as a bonded couple friendship, they come after you, they got to come after me. You see what I'm saying? And so you feel more confident because you got somebody got your back. And that's why having a family is always good too, because in my family there's a ton of people. And so if you come after me, and you probably from South Hill too, you probably got a lot of family too. But I'm just saying, it's you're not alone in this world. You'd be surprised how many people are just alone in the world and they don't have anybody. When I worked in court, the deputies would come in and say, "Your Honor, we have a body that we need to bury, and we don't have anybody to bury it. He doesn't have any family. There's nobody." Can you imagine you have nobody to bury? There's nobody coming to your funeral. There's nobody coming to say kind words over you. There's nobody coming to do a eulogy, say he was good or bad or evil, whatever. There's nobody. Your funeral is empty. That's a sad way to be in life. So when you got a full family, you got kids, you got grandpas, uncles, you got a grandfather that you really loved, you cared for. So that made you, that brought something out of you as a human being, as an existing human being. It made you stronger. It gave you more wisdom. He poured his life into you. And you will pour your life into others. And I'm pouring my life into you and other people too. But that's what makes us stronger, when we as a community pour into each other, rather than having this distrust of each other. Well, having this, we as blacks are terrible at this. We're terrible at cutting each other down, talking about each other, downgrading each other. But other races, we pick them up. We talk good about them. You know, we don't talk about them as we talk about our brothers and sisters. And so things within the black community, we need to create a new, kind of like a new society, because what happens is, I know I'm talking like 50 miles, right? She has not stopped me yet, so I'm
because you spitting good information that people need to hear. I'm not gonna stop you from telling stories. Now, when you go into stories, I'm gonna have to stop you, because I'm like, all right, Mister, we can't keep going into stories. But everything you're speaking on is about society itself. That specifically Black society experiences, and overall, your goal is to be in that position to help people to form a Black society, to be the comfort that other people may need, to be that resource that people can go to for advice, because we're in a world that resources are already limited for the minority we're in. So it's like, to be that resource is amazing and it's helpful.
And we as Black people need leadership too. So I want to be one of the Black leaders that lead with integrity, that lead with honesty, and because we have so many in our population that we're disappointed in our leaders, Black leaders, because they disappoint us, and we want somebody to stand strong, and that we always have adversity coming against us. So we need Black leaders to stand up and to be counted and to have integrity about themselves. But that comes as a cost too, standing for truth, standing for things that has meaning, standing for value, moral value, stuff like that. So hopefully we at Black society can accomplish these things, but it takes people to help people, not just Gilbert Wilkerson, but it takes people to join an organization, to volunteer, to put their hands to the plow. And I thank you for coming along and joining us and making a difference, because your zeal and passion has inspired me, and I talked to my board members about you coming aboard, and they said, "Oh, she sounds very exciting, Gilbert," and this. And so we talk about things behind the scene about people coming in that has the drive and the passion to help people. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and Daryl Hopkins, who wrote the book Life After Life, and they try to do a miniseries after him. Daryl says, Gilbert, there's very few people can talk to. We can't find people that will sit down and talk about problems and solutions. Lots of people want to talk foolishness, craziness, what's in the club, what's in the music, but that's okay. But you can't do that all the time and solve the problems within the community. So we got to find people who have a consciousness of working in the Black community to make a change. So I've emptied out to you now. But you can't get no more out of me.
Overall, as Mr. Gilbert Wilkerson said, and we're all trying to make a change amongst Black society. So that's why Black society was created. So for anyone that has ideas, or anybody that knows a way that can help our community or improve our community, then go ahead and reach out to us. We have a website. The link will be in the bio. Be sure to check us out, or reach out to Mr. Wilkerson, or reach out to me, and we can definitely talk things out. But once again,
don't forget to subscribe too, right?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Right. We love subscriptions.
But thank you all for watching, and love you all. Have a great day.